Welcome to the Minute of Terror channel. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment where you are watching this video from. My name is Clara. I'll never forget the day Lucas vanished. It was July 2024 on the Silent Valley Trail in the Appalachian Mountains near Asheville, North Carolina. Lucas, Anna, Peter, and I had been friends since our college days at UNC Chapel Hill, where we bonded over the university's hiking club. For years, we tackled trails together, climbing Mount Mitchell, exploring the waterfalls of Pisgah National Forest, braving the chilly mountain air. We thought we were seasoned hikers. But that day changed everything. The forest felt alive, whispering, not in a poetic way, but as if something was watching us, waiting. Lucas disappeared without a trace. No shout, no snap twig. Just a strange echo, not from the woods, but from something that seemed to be hunting us. With every step, I wondered, who's next? The Silent Valley Trail wasn't well known. It opened in 2023 after Buncombe County pushed to boost ecotourism. Local papers called it a hidden gem, with dense hardwood forests, clear creeks, and views of craggy pinnacle. But there were rumors. Old-timers sipping coffee in downtown Asheville spoke of the valley in hushed tones. They said the name came from eerie whispers that echoed at night, unexplained sounds. Some blamed the wind in the ravines. Others hinted at worse. A couple of campers went missing in 2019, found weeks later lifeless, their gear untouched. We laughed it off. Trail legends, right? Who believes that stuff? But now, I don't laugh anymore. We arrived at the trailhead at 6:30 a.m. on a crisp Saturday. The sky was clear, the air sharp, typical of the Appalachians in summer. The trail started at a gravel lot with a wooden sign, Silent Valley Trail, 7.5 miles. There was a warning about bears and fog risks, but nothing unusual. Lucas, as usual, led the way, cracking jokes about the size of my backpack. I carried the GPS, a map, and a first aid kit. Anna, the calm one, double-checked our route. Peter, the joker, was humming a butcher version of a Red Hot Chili Peppers song to keep us entertained. We were a tight group, confident. The first few hours were peaceful. The trail wound through thick forest, with towering oaks and the scent of damp earth. The sounds of creeks and birds were constant, but around 10 a.m., the birds stopped. Silence hit, like a switch had been flipped. Then I heard it, a low murmur, like muffled voices, coming from all directions. I thought it was the wind, but the trees were still. "You hear that?" I asked, stopping. Peter tilted his head. "Chill, Clara. It's just a creek." But Lucas, a few yards ahead, turned with a strange look. "That's not the creek. I don't know, like it's following us." Anna, ever rational, shrugged. "Probably just the valley's echo. Let's keep going." But the unease had settled in. We continued, but the murmur didn't stop. It was as if the forest was talking, mimicking sound we didn't make. Footsteps that weren't ours. Twigs snapping where no one stood. My heart pounded, and I gripped the GPS tighter, as if it could save me. Around noon, we stopped in the clearing to eat. The sun barely pierced the canopy, and the air felt colder than it should. The murmur was clearer now, like voices whispering fragments. "Clara, here, come." I looked at the others, hoping someone would say something, but Anna was fiddling with the GPS, which now showed us off the trail. Even though we were on the path, Peter tried taking a photo, but his phone kept glitching, the screen flickering. "The GPS is acting up," Anna said, frowning. "And the map, it doesn't match what we're seeing." "Maybe the compass is off in these mountains," I suggested, but my voice shook. Lucas, staring into the woods, said quietly, "There's no wildlife. No birds, no squirrels, nothing." He was right. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the murmur. I tried to ignore the chill down my spine. Let's keep moving. The faster, the better. The trail narrowed, the forest denser. The murmur grew into a chorus, like multiple voices speaking at once. Nonsensical. I heard my name again from behind a tree. I spun around, nothing but shadows. Did you hear that? I asked, almost shouting. Hear what? Peter replied, confused. My name, damn it. Someone said my name. Anna looked at me, concerned. Clara, calm down. I didn't hear anything. Something's wrong here. My voice echoed, and the murmur seemed to answer, louder. Lucas stopped abruptly. Listen, he whispered. We froze, and then we heard it. Heavy footsteps, like something big moving through the woods. We couldn't see anything, just shadows between the trees. The sound stopped, and Lucas, pale, said, That's not normal. Let's turn back. I pleaded. We're maybe 3 hours from the trailhead. But Lucas insisted. The trail loops. The exit's closer if we keep going. Anna nodded, but Peter hesitated. I've got a bad feeling, man. Stop being a wuss. Lucas snapped, though even he seemed shaken. We pressed on, but no one spoke anymore. The murmur was constant now, sometimes calling our names, sometimes laughing. The trail seemed to shift, markers disappearing. Anna's GPS died, and the map was useless. The forest felt like it was swallowing us. As night fell, we had no choice. We set up a tent in a clearing. The 3 of us crammed together, shivering from cold and fear. The murmur was deafening, and shapes started appearing. Shadows moving between trees, vanishing when we looked directly. Anna was quietly crying, and Peter clutched a pocket knife. Useless. What's happening? Anna whispered. I don't know, I said, but we have to stick together. I fell asleep from exhaustion, but woke to a scream. It was Anna. The tent was torn, and Peter was gone. We ran, shouting for him, but the murmur laughed, and the shadows were everywhere. Anna grabbed my hand, trembling. We're going to die, Clara, she said, sobbing. No, we're not. I replied, not believing it. We ran blindly. Anna tripped, and something passed us, a cold that didn't make sense, presence that felt alive. When I looked back, Anna was there, but her eyes were empty. She whispered in the murmur's tone, stay with us. I let go of her hand and ran. I ran until I collapsed on a road, where a rescue team found me 2 days later, dehydrated and voiceless. I told the police everything, but they said I was in shock. They talked about fog, lost hikers, but no one found Lucas, Anna, or Peter. I was the only one who made it out of Silent Valley. I went back to Chapel Hill, but I'm not the same. The murmur follows me. At night, I hear voices calling. I see shadows in the corner of my eye. I know they're waiting. One day, they'll find me. Camping by the French Broad River during the rainy season was a terrible idea, I'll admit. It was January 2025, the heart of winter in Asheville, North Carolina, when storms hit hard. But the kids begged, and I gave in. My wife, Mary, our son, Jack, 12, and daughter, Sophie, 9, wanted a weekend away from the city. We picked a campsite in Brevard, near the river's headwaters, surrounded by the Pisgah National Forest. We'd camped in the Blue Ridge Mountains before, hiked trails around Hendersonville, so we thought we were ready. But the rain wouldn't stop. The water rose too fast, and we were stranded. The panic hit. But the flood wasn't the worst part. It was what the water carried. Dark, shapeless forms floating in the current, watching us. It wasn't just a river that threatened us. It was what came with it. And in the end, it's what found us. The idea came from Jack, who'd seen a wild camping video on YouTube and got excited. Mary thought it'd be good to get the kids off their screens, and I, Mark, just wanted to see them happy. The Brevard campsite was simple, a clearing with pine trees and river access. The forecast mentioned rain, but nothing extreme. We brought a sturdy tent, flashlights, and food for 3 days. It seemed like enough. The French Broad up there is still clean, unlike the muddier stretches downstream. But locals in Brevart's Diner told tales of strange floods. Back in 2020, a storm washed out a bridge and left weird stuff on the banks, according to the old-timers. We laughed it off. Who believes campfire stories? We arrived Friday night after a 2-hour drive from Asheville. The sky was overcast, but we set up the tent without issue. Jack and Sophie chased fireflies, and Mary made sandwiches. The river sound was soothing, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. But around midnight, the storm hit. Thunder rattled the tent, and rain leaked through the tarp. We woke up soaked, Sophie clutching her teddy bear, Jack trying to joke to hide his fear. By Saturday, the river had risen. The clearing was a muddy mess, and water lapped at the tent. I tried to stay calm, saying the rain would pass, but it only got worse. By noon, the French Broad was a raging, murky torrent, carrying branches and debris. We decided to head for the car, about a quarter-mile away, but the dirt path was flooded. The car, stuck in mud, wouldn't start. Our phones had no signal, and the radio just hissed. We were trapped. We retreated to the tent, which was still holding up, and huddled inside, wet and cold. That's when I saw the first thing. The water, now surrounding the tent, carried something odd. It looked like a log, but it was too big, with a wrong shape, bulging limb-like protrusions, boneless and twisted. I shone my flashlight, and the beam caught a slick, almost black surface, with a sticky, unnatural texture. It wasn't animal nor human. It was something else. "Mary, do you see that?" I whispered, trying not to scare the kids. She looked and went pale. "Oh my God, Mark, what is that?" "I don't know. Stay with them." I tried to convince myself it was debris, maybe a torn tarp. But then more came. Shapeless forms, floating slowly, some as big as a person, others smaller, all with that same wrong look. One stopped near the tent, and I swear it moved, like it was trying to rise. Sophie screamed, and Jack grabbed my arm. "Dad, it's alive," he said, his voice shaking. "Just flood junk, buddy." I lied, my heart racing. Night fell, and the rain kept pounding. The water was knee-deep now. The river's roar mixed with a low murmur, like muffled voices. It wasn't the water or the wind. It was something else. The kids fell asleep, exhausted, but Mary and I stayed awake. The shapes kept drifting by, some so close that a rotting stench, like spoiled meat, filled the tent. Then I heard a scraping on the tarp, slow, like nails dragging. "Don't move," I whispered, gripping the flashlight and a useless pocket knife. The scraping stopped, but a gurgling sound followed, like something rising from the water. The flashlight caught a shadow on the other side of the tarp, huge, with those grotesque protrusions. It stood there, still, like it was watching us. Mary stifled a scream, and a chill hit me that I couldn't explain. Then the shadow shifted, but it didn't leave. It lingered, and the murmur turned into a clear whisper. "Mark's Day." I don't know how we survived until dawn. On Sunday morning, the rain eased, and the water started to recede. The shapes were gone, like they'd never been there. But the tent was marked with deep scratches and tarp, as if someone had tried to get in. We decided to risk running to the car. That's when it happened. As we crossed the clearing, Sophie screamed. I looked back and saw one of those things, now out of the water, dragging itself through the mud. It was massive, with twisted limbs moving in ways that defied physics. Its eyes, if there were eyes, glinted, locked on us. "Run!" I yelled, pulling Sophie. Mary carried Jack, who was crying. We reached the car, which, by some miracle, started. I sped toward Brevard, not looking back. In town, I told the police everything. They talked about flood debris, stress-induced hallucinations. But I know what I saw. That wasn't trash. It was alive and it chose us. We went to a hospital, and physically we were fine, but none of us sleep well anymore. Back in Asheville, life's different. Jack doesn't talk about camping. Sophie has nightmares, and Mary avoids the topic. I read in the papers that the 2025 French Broad floods were historic, with unidentified debris found along several towns. A fisherman in Brevard said he saw strange things in the water, but no one investigated. I know the truth. Those forms are still out there in the river, waiting for the next storm. Sometimes at night, I hear the murmur, faint, calling my name. I won't go back to the French Broad. Never again. But I'm scared that one day they'll come for me. Marina and I always loved exploring the Appalachian forests. In January 2025, we decided to hike the One-Eyed Monkey Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains, near Gatlinburg, Tennessee, known for its stunning ridge views and waterfalls. We were seasoned hikers, having tackled trails in the Blue Ridge Mountains and around Asheville, so we felt confident. But that day turned into a nightmare. We met two guys on the trail, and what started as an offer of help became terror. It wasn't the forest that threatened us. It was those men with predatory grins who seemed to hunt us. We escaped and reported it to the police, but we'll never be the same. My name is Tyler. We're from Knoxville and often head to the Smokies for weekend getaways. The One-Eyed Monkey Trail was a long-time goal, a 6-mile loop with views of Clingman's Dome and a waterfall. But there were stories. Locals in Gatlinburg's diners talked of hikers who vanished. In 2022, 3 people disappeared, and the news reported abandoned backpacks. We laughed, thinking they were just tall tales. I don't laugh anymore. We hit the trail at 7 a.m. on a sunny Saturday. We carried light packs, water, snacks, a map, a GPS, and my pocket knife. The trail started at a gravel pull-off with a sign, One-Eyed Monkey Trail, 6 miles. We hiked eagerly, Marina snapping photos. But about 20 minutes in, we found 2 guys sitting on a rock, looking worn out. The older one, maybe 40, with a scruffy beard and a faded cap, spoke up. We're lost. Our map's trashed, and our phones have no signal. Know the way to the fork. The younger one, lean with tattoos, flashed a smile. Something about them fell off, but Marina, always kind, said, "Sure, come with us." They thanked us, their smiles uneasy, and followed. At first, it seemed fine. The older guy, Carl, said he was from Chattanooga. The younger one, Ray, from Knoxville, barely spoke. But their vibe shifted. Carl asked odd questions. Where we lived, if we had kids, what was in our packs. Ray stared, his eyes locked on us, like he was sizing us up. Their smiles, once friendly, now sent chills, too wide, too forced. "You guys come here often?" Carl asked, his grin fixed. Sometimes. I replied curtly, picking up the pace. Marina tried to talk about the waterfall, but Ray cut in. "What's in that bag?" "Got cash." He laughed, but the tone was wrong. A chill ran through me. Marina squeezed my hand, uneasy too. The trail narrowed, the forest denser. The sound of the creek faded, and the birds went quiet. Carl and Ray stayed close, almost too close. They ignored my attempt to change the subject, circling back to their questions. "Live alone? No family waiting." Carl said, his smile stretching unnaturally. "Let's take a break," I suggested, needing a moment. We sat in a clearing, but they stood, one on each side, like they were boxing us in. Ray fiddled with his pocket, and I saw something metallic. A knife? My heart raced. We're going on alone, I said firmly. The fork's just ahead. You'll find it. Carl chuckled low. Relax, buddy. I'm enjoying the company. Ray's smile was almost feral. Marina whispered, Tyler, let's go. We stood quickly, but they followed closer now. Their footsteps echoed like the forest was with them. I glanced back, and Ray's eyes gleamed like he was enjoying this. Ever hear the stories about this trail? Carl asked. They say not everyone who goes and comes out. The woods keep people. Marina gripped my hand. Cut it out, she said, her voice shaky. Ray laughed sharp. The woods don't keep. We do. That was enough. I pulled Marina and ran. Run now! I shouted. Their footsteps pounded behind us, with laughter echoing. Branches whipped our faces, but we didn't look back. My heart felt like it would burst. Marina stumbled, but I caught her. We hit a fork and took the left path toward the ridge, unsure if it was right. Their footsteps stopped, but Carl yelled, You won't get far. His voice was guttural, barely human. We ran until we heard the wind through the trees. The trail opened onto an overlook where park rangers were checking maps. I sprinted to them, yelling, Help! Gasping. I told them everything while Marina trembled. They escorted us to our car at the trailhead. We drove to the Gatlinburg police station and reported it. The men, their questions, the chase. The officer took notes, skeptical. Sure it wasn't just nerves? The woods can spook you. I showed the scratches from branches and our fear. He promised to look into it, mentioning old reports. In 2022, 3 hikers vanished, and a backpack was found, ownerless. Back in Knoxville, we're changed. Marina won't hike anymore, and I have nightmares about those smiles. The police searched the trail, but only found a rusty knife with marks that look like blood. No one explains it. I hear footsteps sometimes, even in the city. We escaped, but I feel them out there in the woods, waiting